Good evening, welcome to Friday's Granada Report.
Hello there. Coming up on the programme tonight.
The text message which spelled disaster. Now Pauline's trying to save others from the pain of pension fraud after losing £45,000.
I answered to a text. Don't. That's like doing deals on your front doorstep. Don't do that.
Unlawfully killed. The coroner's conclusion on the murder of Brianna Ghey by two fellow teenagers. But their schools could never have foreseen they'd turn into killers.
One of my major bugbears is how the arts are not really supported in our state education. And that breaks my heart.
Acting royalty, David Morrissey tells us why he's joining the celebrations for 60 years of Liverpool's Everyman Theatre.
I'm here at Maghull train station to find out why it's been named the best in the country.
And a reminder, we have the clocks going back an hour in the early hours of Sunday morning this weekend, and hopefully plenty of usable weather to get out and about. I'll have all the details later on.
All of that to come, but first tonight, it started with a text message and led to a nurse losing her entire pension pot of £45,000 to scammers.
That text to Pauline Padden, a critical care nurse at Alderhay Children's Hospital in Liverpool, promised a cash gift and a bigger pension if she moved her money.
But as so often in life, when something seems too good to be true, it was. That was more than 10 years ago, and Pauline is still fighting for some sort of compensation.
But in the here and now, the figures on pension fraud are truly shocking. Last year, £17 million was stolen in pension fraud. There were more than 550 separate scams, with each victim losing an average of over £45,000.
The scammers who tricked Pauline out of her money stole a staggering £13.6 million from 245 people between 2012 and 2014. They're now both in jail.
But Pauline from Southport fears she'll never see her stolen money again. She spoke to our Merseyside correspondent, Andy Bonner.
Pauline Padden is usually savvy when it comes to finance. When she got a message out of the blue about her pension, she thought it came at an opportune moment.
You were at a particularly vulnerable time when you were targeted.
Yes, I was. My mum, this was her final 3 weeks, and I just wanted to be with her, but my finances at the time wouldn't allow me to do that. So I was in a bit of a quandary, really, because I desperately wanted to be with my mum. And I got this text through, and the text said, you know, if you've got frozen pensions, would you like to move them to a better investment and in return for that receive a cash gift? So I thought, you know what, this sounds like somebody's been listening to me prayers. This is going to fix everything.
Pauline didn't know the so-called cash gift was paid from her own pension. It was 18 months before investigators called to say the rest, more than £40,000, had gone.
They said, we're sorry, it's a scam, you've lost all your money.
How did you feel when you realised what had happened?
Silly, stupid, still vulnerable. How could I let this happen to myself? I'm not stupid, got a couple of brain cells of my own. How have I let this happen?
The scammers, Alan Barrett and Susan Dalton, were jailed for a total of 10 years in 2022. The victims were many.
I mean, there was 246 of us involved in this scam.
It's a lot of money.
13.6 million they got. And it just, poof.
But this isn't a unique case.
Activities are continually evolving. They are continually looking at different methods to draw people in and elicit them into a scheme to deprive them of their pension pots. Unfortunately, we do see a number of them. So in the last year, we've had reports of over £17.5 million worth of losses that are related to pension schemes.
I'm 61 now, and I've got to keep working.
Anyone could be targeted. What would your advice be?
Look, I answered to a text. Don't. That's like doing deals on your front doorstep. Don't do that. Do your own due diligence, do your own research. If you're wanting to move your pension or any investments that you have, then let that come from you. In my defence, I was in a vulnerable position. I wanted to be with my mum. And, you know, I paid the price for it.
To this day, none of the victims' money has been recovered, and Pauline is yet to see any compensation. She hopes her advice will at least stop others from falling for the same lies. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Southport.
It's an awful story. Some good advice from Pauline there. If you suspect a scam, you're advised to always report it to Action Fraud Online or call 0300 123 2040. And
there's lots more guidance about avoiding scams on our website. Head to itv.com/Granada.
Next to the inquest into the death of Brianna Ghey from Warrington. Brianna, who was 16, was murdered by two fellow teenagers, Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe, in Culcheth Linear Park in the town last year.
In the last hour, the coroner has concluded that the schools attended by Jenkinson and Ratcliffe could not have foreseen they would plot to kill Brianna. She concluded that Brianna was unlawfully killed.
Well, our correspondent Rob Smith joins us live from the coroner's court in Warrington. Rob, what can you tell us?
No one could have seen it coming. That was the bottom line of the coroner's conclusion here today. Not the schools involved, not the Education Authority, not the host of support workers and support agencies that had a part in Brianna's life. None of them could have reasonably foreseen the risk that she was at, because none of them knew just what the killers were plotting. Only they knew what they had plotted for months on end. Brianna stabbed to death in that park near Warrington in February last year. Her murderers, Scarlett Jenkinson and Eddie Ratcliffe, now serving life behind bars. And a big part of this inquest have been looking at Jenkinson's move to Brianna's school and what, if anything, that had to play in all of this. Jenkinson had moved because she'd faced expulsion at her previous high school as she'd brought in sweets laced with cannabis, given them to an unsuspecting pupil, effectively spiking that pupil. A managed transfer, as it called, was arranged between schools, and she was shifted from hers to Brianna's. Now, the coroner did note that some information wasn't passed on initially in that, the fact that the police were involved, the fact that unsuspecting child went to A&E, but she said overall the managed transfer was handled appropriately. It did not contribute to the outcome. And she said that none of the schools could have seen anything because there was nothing to see in the relationship, in the interactions between Brianna and Jenkinson, in anything that Eddie Ratcliffe did. Nothing set any alarm bells ringing. In fact, Jenkinson and Brianna's relationship was considered on the face of it to be a good thing. She befriended her. It seemed like a very, very good thing. She also said that there was a big support network in place at that school, and there were no gaps in the outside agencies that were involved in this, again, not contributing to her death. She also referenced Brianna's medical issues in her conclusion: an eating disorder, ADHD, and autism. She said none of those were a causative factor, as she put it, but they did make her more vulnerable to Jenkinson's manipulation, getting into her affections, that befriending process. She also looked at Brianna's online presence. She had thousands of followers online. It was revealed during the inquest that she was actually considered to be at medium risk of child sexual exploitation because she was talking to strangers online, accepting gifts via social media. The coroner said again, no direct link to her death, and that support that had been offered on internet safety, Brianna had declined. In the end, she did talk about Brianna's mother's campaign on online safety, about extra controls for the use of smartphones and the internet for children, but it was only a reference. She said fundamentally that was an issue for government and for parents, and she ended this inquest by referring to the loss of a remarkable character.
OK, Rob in Warrington, thank you.
Appeal court judges have refused an application by a woman from Liverpool to have her murder conviction overturned. Dylan Bacon was stabbed to death in Old Swan in 2022. A year later, Lee Rose Cheng was jailed for life with a minimum term of 16 years. Cheng's case has been taken up by the Centre for Women's Justice, which argued that the original trial should have considered a manslaughter defence.
The family of a paddleboarder whose body was recovered from Dovestones Reservoir near Oldham say he had the power to bring everyone together. Simon Daniels, who was from Cheshire, got into difficulty in the water on Sunday. A specialist search team found his body 2 days later. The personal trainer was visiting the reservoir with his girlfriend, who was rescued and taken to hospital. Well, next, he is one of the Northwest's finest actors, with starring roles in The Walking Dead, Sense and Sensibility, Sherwood and Doctor Who, to name just a few.
Yes, David Morrissey has been in some of the biggest dramas on TV, but today he's returned to the stage where it all began.
Yeah, David's back in his home city of Liverpool to help the Everyman Theatre celebrate its 60th birthday and to support its Everyone Starts Somewhere campaign to nurture future stars.
He's been speaking to our correspondent, Victoria Grimes.
David Morrissey, back where it all started for you at the Everyman Theatre. What do you remember about those days?
Oh, so much. I mean, I came here to join the youth theatre. Yeah. We used to come in and watch the grown-up shows all the time. And there was some great theatre. So this is where I really started, in a sense that I fell in love with theatre, live theatre. And yeah, and all the actors who I met, people like Pete Postlethwaite, Jonathan Pryce, you know, Bill Nye, Anton Lesser, I've worked with them as I've grown up and been able to thank them, because none of them told me where to go when I said to them I want to be an actor, you know.
Did they all give you good advice then when you said that?
You know what none of them told me to get lost. That was the main thing. You felt you were at the centre of the universe, really, creatively. So, you know, it felt to me that when I told people as a snotty-nosed kid that I wanted to be an actor, you know, nobody looked at me like I was weird or sort of having highfalutin ambitions. You know, they all took it seriously.
Did you work behind the bar here? Is that right?
I worked in the Everyman, downstairs in the bistro. I worked there for about a year. It was great fun, and everyone came through the door. People like Craig Charles and bands like Lawnmower and War, and sort of Pete Wiley was in there all the time, and sort of Teardrop Explodes and Echo and the Bunnymen. They were all there, you know, it was the place to be.
Well, it's 60 years of the Everyman this year. That's incredible. And you haven't been there for the whole time,
No, I
David.
haven't. No, I could have done, but I haven't.
Why was it so important to you to come back here for the 60th anniversary?
Oh, it means everything to me, you know. I mean, the theatre, it obviously has great memories for me. It gave me a real taste of the hard work that you need to put in, but the joy you can get out of it as well.
And what do you think about all the work that they do with young people now? What does that mean to you now, to know that that's still happening?
It means everything, because one of my major bugbears is how the arts are not really supported in our state education. And that breaks my heart. And, you know, for the Everyman to support the arts as it should for young people means everything.
You've gone on to do some amazing things since you left here, and I think the British Film Institute called you one of the most versatile actors of our generation. Look, come on, don't be looking all modest here. It is amazing, incredible. Did you think back then that you would be going on to do things like The Walking Dead, Captain Corelli, Sherwood?
No, I mean, all I wanted to be was a working actor. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to make my living through acting. And it's still all I want to do.
So you're the governor.
Some nicknames stick whether you want them to or not.
The governor was great. I mean, you know, that was because you're playing on a world stage, and it gave me world profile. And that's really great for an actor, because then that means that you can start doing your own stuff, really.
And you've got some big projects happening at the moment, which are a bit different from what you've been doing here at the Everyman over the years.
So I'm doing a film for Netflix at the moment called The Woman in Cabin 10. We've been filming on a yacht for the last 3 weeks.
That sounds really glam.
Sounds really glam, doesn't it? But we were actually in the English Channel in October, so it wasn't as. It was still very nice, but it was a bit bobby, and it reminded me of those. I used to go on the Royal Iris, on these mad parties. I used to go up and down the Mersey.
Did you?
And you could never get off. And you know, oh, I want to get off now, I want to go. And it was a bit like that, being on that boat. But no, it's great, and that'll be out next year, I think. And it's with Keira Knightley and Guy Pearce.
David, it's so lovely to see you back here in Liverpool. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to us today.
No, thank you very much.
The brilliant David Morrissey there. And, of course, he's a big Liverpool fan, isn't he?
Yes, he is. You can see where we're going with this, can't you? It's a seamless move now
It's
into
not just
sport.
thrown together,
No,
this.
it's not. So can David Morrissey's beloved Reds extend their record start to a season? Here's David.
Yes, what a job Arne Slot is doing at Liverpool. Handed the reins after the departure of the much-loved Jurgen Klopp. Well, it's been a seamless transition with the club, well, the early pace setters in the Premier League.
It wasn't like that I was at my holiday thinking about, OK, after 10 games, how many points do I want to have? No, the only thing I was thinking of was how am I going to try to bring the best out of this team. That has been done for so long by Jurgen, but there were expectations from me where I would, the way I wanted to see the team playing. That is matching my expectations at the moment.
Well, as Manchester United prepare to go to West Ham on Sunday, the team will fly straight into London after staying overnight in Turkey last night following their Europa League game with Fenerbahce.
It's a good team, we have good players, we have a good manager, so it's never easy, but we take a point, and when you take a point, as I said, and in Porto.
To Rugby League, and England face Samoa on Sunday, looking to avenge the heartbreak they suffered in the World Cup. Well, the two sides meet in the first of their autumn internationals at Wigan's Brick Community Stadium. It's a repeat of the World Cup semi-final from 2 years ago, which the Samoans won. And ahead of the game, England's players have been meeting some of their young fans who came along to training.
I've been that kid once, obviously, rugby mad and just wanting to meet players, England players. So yeah, it's special for them, but also for us to look back on and reflect. If you look at the NRL, most of the best players in the competition are Samoan, so we know what we're coming up against. Some quality, world-class players, but we're confident in our abilities, what we've got in our dressing room too.
We were obviously kids one time and looked up to players, so to be able to do that now, you know, you feel honoured and proud, you know. So yeah, a lot of kids out here today, they've been brilliant, singing all training sessions. So we had a meet at the end and we couldn't really hear what Wayne was saying, so that was quite enjoyable.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Now to boxing, and a big night for Chorley's Jack Catterall, who knows he's just one win away from a shot at a world title. After headlining in Liverpool and Leeds tomorrow, he's the main event in Manchester as the Co-op Arena hosts its first ever fight night. A crowd of 10,000 is expected as he faces the American Regis Prograis. It's a dangerous opponent, but as Jack told me, he's happy to take on the best. Well, Jack, how does it feel? Not long now till you're headlining this place in Manchester. How does that feel?
It feels good. It feels good. It's massive for me. I grew up boxing on the small hall shows up and down the country, so to be headlining the new arena's a good feeling.
And for you as well, it's a big fight, isn't it? Because I know there's no belt on the line here, but win this sets you up for a world title shot, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think outside of the 4 world champions that you've got, Regis is up there as one of the best, so we both know that the winner goes on to get a world title shot. But I think that's the motivation for both of us. The best fight the best, and the winner moves on.
He says he's relaxed, he's confident. People are being too nice to him. Do you need people to start being a bit more nasty to him around here?
No, listen, I'm surrounded by good people, so I don't expect any of my people to be causing trouble. We'll do the business on Saturday in the ring.
And boy, you're going to have some support here, aren't you? Just tell us the masses who are going to be here for you.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. The support from not just Chorley, but the surrounding towns and cities up and down the country. People travelling from far and wide to come to the Co-op on Saturday, so forever grateful for everyone for coming.
And since we last met, we saw you just before your wedding. You're now married. Are you going to have your wife turning up now as well?
Yeah, my wife's here. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind year, but it's been a good year. After the last fight, we got married. We were straight back in camp for this fight, and it's soon come round. I've got the best support network around me, my wife, my mum, my family, so I'm just fully focused on this now.
Yeah, good luck to Jack. Big night for him, big night with plenty of Northwest talent on the undercard as well.
Thanks very much, David.
Thanks, David.
Finally tonight, to one of our favourite stories of the week. The train station that's been named the best in Britain.
Yes, Maghull Station in Sefton on Merseyside has won a competition you may not have heard of, the World Cup of Stations, seeing off rivals from across the country, though it has to be said, not the actual world.
But anyway, it's been judged the best because of its fantastic staff and very popular cafe. Tasha Kachiri hopped on the train there to have a look.
This small town station has a big city buzz. It's been named the UK's best in the World Cup of Stations 2024. This competition celebrates stations that go above and beyond in serving their communities. What's so special about this place?
It's the heart of a community. It's not just a train station. You know, a lot of stations have no atmosphere. We really have got a community spirit here, and you know, our staff know our customers by first names. We have a lot of regulars, have a lot of clubs now on the station that visit us, and yeah, you know, there's a lot going on at the station. It's not just a place to catch a train. It's actually a destination now.
The Sefton station beat out Kings Lynn and Dorwich to claim the top spot. Locals say Maghull's success is down to their station team and its popular cafe, the Coffee Carriage, which opened earlier this year and has become a home for the community.
I mean, it's overwhelming, really. Maghull's quite a small town, but the whole community seems to have got behind this. We've had local schools involved, we've had local people coming into the station to ask us how the station's got on. But it really has generated such a buzz in the local community, and all I can say to everyone that voted is thank you very much, because it's great that Maghull's been recognised in this way.
Mike Kendrick heard about the award, then hopped on a train to see if the famous cafe lived up to its hype.
I thought the cafe might have been a bit bigger. It seats about 20, but it's obviously full. And I was speaking to the gentleman over there, and he says every time he comes in, it's pretty full. So it seems to be like a community hub.
I'm a lady that lunches with my friend Pauline. And so as soon as I heard about this, I said I must suss that out, and I came and I said, this is absolutely beautiful. The food is second to none. Coffee is absolutely gorgeous, and the staff themselves are fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a really welcoming place, and somehow we always manage to fit in with a pram. They always make space for us.
This year's contest celebrated the diverse businesses found in train stations nationwide. Rory, co-owner of the Coffee Carriage, said it was natural to keep the community at the heart of their work.
Community's always been important to me. Creating your own family is really special, and having the chance to do that whilst being at work makes everything more wholesome. So it was just, I guess, from the heart.
Hopefully Rory and his team will be on track to defend their title next year. Tasha Kachiri, ITV News, Maghull.
You could actually get the train there and just get off for the cafe.
What a good idea. I'll take the kids for half term. Now then, more news from Merseyrail. They have launched a campaign aimed at supporting a baby hospice in Liverpool, which is facing closure.
The Pound for Zoe's Place scheme is to help the hospice raise £5 million to ensure its survival and secure a new home.
From today, passengers buying rail tickets at any Merseyrail ticket office will be invited to donate £1 to help raise vital funds.
Now it's that time of the year again. The clocks go back 1 hour this weekend. Don't forget now, here's Joe with the weather.
Have you burnt tea again?
I'm scraping the cooled oil into the bin, not the sink.
Can we eat outside? It's nice.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. The weekend is here and there's plenty of usable weather to be had over the next couple of days. It continues to feel mild and most of the rain will be coming by night. Certainly this evening there's a drop of rain to come, and again tomorrow night some rather heavy rain but clearing through, giving us bright or fine conditions by day. You can see low pressure is around and the first batch of rain moves through over the next few hours, and then from the northwest tomorrow another front will move in, and that's going to introduce some slightly heavier rain tomorrow night. But by Sunday morning it's all gone and skies will brighten. Back to this evening, as that rain begins to push northwards, it takes with it the low cloud of mistiness that's been hanging about in the Pennines today. Clearer skies for many of us before dawn, dry across the board and not particularly chilly. We still have those winds from a mild southerly direction, so 7 or 8 degrees perhaps the overnight low. On to tomorrow, the sun is up at 8 o'clock, setting at 5:48 tomorrow evening. Saturday should start on a bright note with fewer fog patches around than there were this morning. Winds are very light, but they pick up a little bit through the day. Sunny spells, particularly through the middle part of the afternoon. 1 or 2 showers for the Isle of Man, but elsewhere dry until tomorrow evening when that rain band will move through. And it's also mild tomorrow, 14 Celsius, but slightly more of a breeze than today. You can see the rain moving in from the northwest tomorrow night, but clearing up very nicely for Sunday morning. And Sunday looks dry, and certainly till the end of the day when the next band of rain moves in to start the working week. The mild theme continues though into next week. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
It's a little bit burnt.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks very much, Joe, and that's it from Granada Reports for another week.
We are back on Monday when we'll be joined here in the studio by members of England's amputee and cerebral palsy football teams as they both prepare for World Cups.
Fantastic. I'll be back with the late news. For now, thanks for watching.